Welcome to this explainer. Today we're bridging the gap between dry, textbook IT theory and actual real-world application. We're going to look under the hood of the internet and see how the gears actually turn when you configure a custom domain, specifically diving into the invisible mechanics of email routing.
You know, we all hit send every single day without a second thought. But think about it. How does the internet actually know that an email addressed to info@modamqm.jp shouldn't just float off into the digital Bermuda Triangle, but needs to route directly to Google's servers? Well, that is exactly the puzzle we're solving today.
Here is our quick roadmap. First, our mission this time. Then, how email arrives. Next, the 3 DNS records. After that, TTL and wait time, service role division, and finally, the most important point. Let's get right into it. Section 1, mission this time. Our goal here is super straightforward but incredibly impactful. We are taking the custom domain motangsheq.jp and completely shifting its email receiving destination away from X server, pointing it directly to Google Workspace. We're basically updating the digital address for the mail truck without changing the public-facing domain name at all. This breakdown is absolutely brilliant because it maps what we actually did right over to standard IT exam terminology. So using motecm.jp, that's your domain name. Logging into X server, that translates to DNS management. Every single click in a dashboard corresponds perfectly to these foundational networking concepts. Moving on to Section 2, how email arrives. Picture this. When someone sends a message to info@motaqua.jp, the sender's mail server is kind of like a lost driver who refuses to use GPS. It literally has to pull over and ask the DNS, which acts as our internet traffic cop, hey, exactly where should emails from motaqua.jp go? The DNS then checks its routing book and provides the exact destination. Which brings us to Section 3, 3 DNS records. First up, we have the NS record, or name server. Think of this as asking, who's the boss here? It tells us which specific DNS servers actually manage the DNS routing rulebook for the entire domain. In our example, it was pointing over to X servers name servers. Now listen up, because this is absolutely crucial. You must never, ever touch the NS record. Seriously, unless you're migrating your entire domain hosting, leave it alone. If you delete it, poof, your entire domain just vanishes from the internet's map. Websites, emails, the whole shebang. Gone. So hands off. Okay, next is the TXT record, or text record. You can really just think of this as a digital ID badge. In our setup, this held a Google site verification code. It's basically a hidden string of text, proving to places like Google, hey, I actually own and manage this domain. It's all about authentication and identity verification. And finally, the real star of this explainer, the MX record, short for mail exchanger. This is the specific instruction telling the internet exactly where to drop off your email. It's literally the answer our DNS traffic cop gives to that lost driver we talked about earlier. Looking closely at the new MX record we configured, you'll see we set the destination to Google's mail server, smtp.google.com. We gave it a priority of 1, making it the absolute top priority. And we assigned it a TTL of 3600. With just those settings, we successfully told the internet to drop off all mail right at Google's front door. All right, Section 4, TTL and wait time. Whenever you're messing with DNS, you're going to see this number a lot, 3600. That is the TTL, or time to live, and it's always measured in seconds. It basically dictates how long the internet is allowed to cache your settings before it's forced to check back for any updates. Now, 3600 seconds is exactly 1 hour. That means your DNS instructions are cached for about an hour across the web. So if your email doesn't route the exact second you hit save, don't panic. Seriously, don't go furiously deleting records. You just have to wait for that 1 hour cache to clear. Go grab a coffee. Patience is quite literally built into the system. Next up, Section 5, service role division. What we're doing here is essentially dividing the labor. X server is strictly handling the domain registration and that DNS routing book. But the actual heavy lifting, storing the mail, the user interface, all those business features, we're outsourcing all of that to Google Workspace. It's a textbook example of using the best cloud tool for a specific job. Finally, Section 6, the most important point. If you take absolutely nothing else away today, lock this into your memory. If an exam scenario asks how to receive custom domain emails in a cloud service, your reflexive answer has got to be the MX record.
It is the absolute linchpin of email delivery.
Because ultimately, your domain name is really just a nameplate. Without those MX records directing traffic behind the scenes, your email is never going to find its home. Makes you wonder, right? If you don't fully understand who controls your DNS records, do you even truly control your digital identity? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring the invisible architecture of our digital world.